She did everything right: career, independence. She built a life that required no one and proved it daily. She stopped waiting to be chosen and chose herself instead. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, the men got younger, or fewer, or both. And nobody will tell her the honest reason why. I will. I want you to try something with me. Picture two women, both attractive, both accomplished. Both have things going on in their lives that have nothing to do with a man. The first woman is 32. The second woman is 44. Same energy in the room. Same warmth when she smiles. Same quality of person underneath everything visible. Now picture how differently a man approaches each of them. You already know what I am about to say. And if you have been on the receiving end of it, you already know the specific sting of watching it happen in real time and not having language for why. It is not the face, it is not the body. Those things matter less than the conversation around them suggests. What a man is actually reading when he reads a woman, and he is always reading, is availability. Not availability in the simple sense of whether she is single. Availability in the deeper sense. Is there room in this person's life for something to be built? Is she in a place where she can receive something new? Or has she finished herself in a way that leaves no open doors? And here is what an accomplished older woman communicates without knowing she is communicating it. She communicates completion, a life fully constructed, opinions fully formed, patterns fully set. A self so thoroughly established that the implicit message is, I will fit you in if you are worth fitting in. And a man's nervous system, whether he can articulate this or not, reads that message and does the math. I did this. I want to be specific. I spent my 30s becoming someone I was genuinely proud of. I got good at things. I got clear on what I wanted and what I would not tolerate. I got comfortable alone in a way that I thought would make me more attractive, because I had been told that a woman who does not need a man is a woman worth wanting. And some of that is true. Independence is attractive. Groundedness is attractive. Knowing who you are is attractive. But I crossed a line somewhere I did not notice crossing. I went from being a woman who did not need a man to being a woman who had unconsciously decided she did not have room for one. Not in the words I said, in the way I showed up, in the slight impatience with anything that did not match the life I had already built, in the efficiency with which I evaluated men against a list that had been refined by years of disappointment into something almost nothing could pass, in the energy I gave off that said, clearly and without intending to, I am complete. Convince me you are worth the renovation. No man wants to be a renovation project. And no man wants to feel like he is auditioning for a role in a life that was written without him. Here is the brutal part, the part that is going to be uncomfortable to hear and necessary to say. A younger woman is not more attractive to most men because she is younger. She is more attractive because she reads as more open, more unfinished in the specific way that makes a man feel like there is somewhere to go together. Like the story is still being written, and he could be part of writing it. She does not have 12 years of refined disappointment shaping how she receives him. She does not have a life so fully constructed that his presence requires a structural renovation to accommodate. She is, in the most essential sense, available. Not desperate, available. And availability, the genuine kind, the kind that says, I have a life and I am also genuinely open to something being added to it, is one of the most attractive things a human being can project. The older woman who gets this right is more attractive than any 28-year-old in the room. Because she has everything the younger woman has in terms of openness, and she has 12 more years of being a fully formed person on top of it. That combination is rare. And when a man finds it, he does not run. He stays. The older woman who gets it wrong has completed herself in a way that leaves no visible door. And a man standing outside a completed life does not knock. He walks past it looking for somewhere he is actually invited in. Now I want to name the 4 specific things that make men run. Because general is useless. Specific is what you can actually do something with. The first one is the audit energy. She walks into a dating situation the way an inspector walks into a building. Clipboard ready. Standards visible. Every conversation is an evaluation. Every date is a test he does not know he is taking, and he feels it. Not always consciously, but in the way the conversation has a ceiling, in the way warmth is rationed until he has earned it, in the way she is already deciding before he has finished his sentence. The audit energy communicates one thing above everything else. I am not here to find something good. I am here to confirm that nothing is good enough. And a man who feels that energy does not try harder. He leaves, because nobody performs well under inspection. And nobody wants to spend the rest of his life being graded. A woman with genuine standards does not audit. She receives. She is warm first and discerning second. She lets something breathe before she decides what it is. The audit comes from fear. The receiving comes from confidence. And a man can feel the difference in the first 10 minutes. The second one is the invisible comparison. She has a version of a man in her head, built from years of experience, disappointment, therapy, self-work, and very clear ideas about what she will and will not tolerate. And that version has become the standard against which every real man is measured. The real man does not know the version exists. He just knows that he keeps falling slightly short of something he cannot see, that there is always a gap between what he offers and what lands as enough, that she seems to be responding to someone who is not quite him. He is not wrong. She is comparing him to a composite that was built in the absence of real men and refined in the absence of real love. And no real man can compete with a composite. A composite has no bad days, no contradictions, no inconvenient humanity. A composite is just the idea of a man, and ideas do not disappoint. Real men do. And she has decided, without fully deciding, that disappointment is something she is no longer available for. So she stays with the composite and calls the real men insufficient. The third one is the self-sufficiency that became a wall. There is a version of independence that is genuinely attractive. A woman who has her own life, her own income, her own sense of who she is. That version is confident and grounded and brings something real to a partnership. And then there is the version that is curdled, the version that became a defense, where I do not need anyone became a statement she makes before anyone has a chance to become someone she might need, where self-sufficiency stopped being a quality and became a preemptive rejection. She built the wall to protect herself from being disappointed again. But a man on the other side of a wall does not see the protection. He sees the wall, and walls do not invite, they exclude. And a man who feels excluded does not persist. He redirects his energy towards somewhere he is actually welcome. The thing that makes a woman magnetic is not that she needs nothing. It is that she has everything, and is still genuinely open to more. That she is whole and also willing to let someone add to the wholeness. That distinction is everything. One is a closed system, the other is an invitation. And men move toward invitations. The fourth one is the most important one. And it is the one nobody will say because saying it out loud sounds like telling a woman that her pain is the problem. She stopped believing it was possible, and the not believing shows. Not in what she says, in how she receives, in the slight bracing before anything gets too close, in the way warmth is always accompanied by a waiting for the catch, in the way she processes a genuinely good moment by looking for what is wrong with it rather than letting herself be inside it. She has been disappointed enough times that hope itself has started to feel naive. And so she replaced hope with strategy. Dating became something to be managed rather than something to be experienced. Men became variables to be assessed rather than people to be known. And she is very good at the managing and the assessing. She has years of practice. What she has lost is the ability to just be in something without already preparing for how it ends. A man can feel that. It feels like she is already half gone before she arrives. And half gone is not somewhere a man wants to build anything. This is not about manufacturing hope she does not feel. It is about understanding that the bracing, the assessment, the invisible audit, the composite in her head, all of it, is a response to real pain, real disappointment, real losses that cost her something. And those losses deserve acknowledgement. But they do not deserve to run the rest of her life. Because a woman running on old disappointment is not protecting herself. She is just making sure the future looks exactly like the past. Here is what actually changes things. Not lowering standards. Not pretending the years of clarity did not happen. not performing a softness that is not real, or manufacturing a neediness designed to make men feel useful. What changes things is one specific internal shift, from evaluation to curiosity, from audit to presence, from managing the experience to actually being in it. A woman who is genuinely curious about the specific man in front of her, not the composite, not the category, not the pattern she has seen before, but this actual person, with his specific way of seeing things and his specific brand of imperfection. That woman is magnetic, because curiosity feels like being seen. And being seen is what every person, man or woman, is actually looking for underneath all the strategy and the performance and the protection. You cannot be curious and defended at the same time. You have to choose. And the choice you make in the first 10 minutes of meeting someone is the choice that determines everything that follows. I made the wrong choice for years. I chose defended. I called it discerning. It was defended. And I stayed exactly where I was, getting more accomplished and more certain that the problem was the quality of available men. It was not the men. It was the door I had closed and was calling a standard. The door can open again, not all the way, all at once, to everyone. That is not what I am saying. But enough. Enough to let something breathe before you decide what it is. Enough to be curious instead of cautious for the first conversation. Enough to let a real man be a real man, instead of holding him against the composite and finding him short. You built something real in yourself over these years. That does not disappear because you let someone in. It becomes the foundation of something better than what you could build alone, but only if you are actually available for the building. The men are not running from your age. They are not running from your accomplishments. They are not running from your standards. They are running from the closed door. Open it. Not because you need them to stay, because you deserve to find out what happens when you stop making sure they leave. Drop your story in the comments. I am not asking for engagement. I am asking because I actually want to know where you are, what this stirred in you, what you are still sitting with. And if this reached something real, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, because this channel exists for one reason only, to tell you the truth about love, with enough honesty to actually change something. I am Miss Anna. Eyes open, heart ready. I will see you in the next one.